For the last 40 years, the Cannery restaurant has been charming diners with its fresh West Coast seafood. Nestled in the heart of Vancouver's port, the restaurant has served over 6 million customers. Paula Klein was the Cannery's first female server, and even though she has worked here for over 29 years, the Cannery can still dish out new surprises.
I'll find myself looking up one day and going, I never knew that was there, or really looking at some of this wood and thinking, I will never see this again in my lifetime inside a restaurant.
The building is reminiscent of old canneries which used to dot BC's coastline. The decor pays homage to this province's fishing history, which is exactly what former owner and co-founder Bud Kanke had in mind while building the place.
There's a feeling of peace in that building, and I think it's really related to the natural woods. There's tons of artifacts. There's Jacob's ladders, there's old boilers, and there's a harpoon gun in there from a whaling ship. So there's all kinds of seafood and fishing artifacts. It's authentic. There's nothing contrived in there. Everything was real. You know, it really has depicted a period that's gone by.
While the decor harkened back to the past, its food proved to be the future of Vancouver's seafood restaurant industry. The Cannery was providing fresh, pan-fried fish and seafood at a time when other Vancouver seafood restaurants were mainly serving fish and chips. But what really makes the dining experience special is what patrons can see while enjoying their dinner.
You'd look out and there'd be seals and sea lions and seagulls, and I mean, there was just everything that you could experience about being down on the water's edge.
While the Cannery has remained more or less the same since opening, the port has changed drastically over the last decade. Restaurant guests were no longer allowed to simply come and go as they pleased. Now they have to pass through security checkpoints.
The Cannery's lease expired in 2006, and around that same time we were dealing, of course, with international security issues, and you saw terrorist attacks mount, and you saw 9/11, you saw all these issues, which brought about new international regulations around security and security requirements for ports. When the fences went up, then suddenly the restaurant found itself caught behind that security fence.
While the lease was extended for the Olympics, it wasn't renewed. The Cannery fought back. Staff created a Save the Cannery website with an online petition to draw support from the public. Management looked for alternate relocation sites. But in the end, the Cannery couldn't be saved. Sandra and Greer Goldsby have been coming to the Cannery every year since the restaurant opened. However, their tradition of coming here for anniversaries and birthdays will soon end, leaving only memories of good times gone by.
The restaurant is so unusual in that it's become an intimate friend with people to some degree. The ability to come here, the view of the city, all of that sort of tied into one package. And so I think that it is going to be a great loss for people.
Every time we've been here, somebody says, I grew up around here. I used to come here 20 years ago. I live now in Calgary. I live now in Toronto. But I always come back here when I come to Vancouver.
It's like you went to dinner at your grandma's and she's no longer around. And yeah, you can't go back. So I think what you do is you look for something else that will provide you with that same kind of thing. But I don't think it'll ever completely fill that void.
This beautiful vista will be gone forever. People will not be allowed to enjoy this. Think of all those beautiful sunsets. I think that's something that I'll miss.
The last day has arrived, and Cannery staff gather to say their final farewells both to the Cannery and to each other. Saying goodbye is never easy, especially to a place Paula has called home for so many years.
To say goodbye to this old, wonderful building that's held all this incredible energy for the last 39 years, I think that will be hard. Just realizing that this will be gone.